Hey everyone, welcome on into the webinar. We're excited for you guys to be here. We're going to go ahead and give it about a minute to allow some people to roll in, and we will just get started in a few moments. Thank you. All right, welcome on in, everyone. If you guys get a chance, feel free to let us know where you guys are joining from in the chat. But welcome to the webinar. This is Beyond the Stars, Unlocking Revenue and Efficiency Through Reviews, presented by Uberall. I am one of your hosts and presenters. My name is Anthony Granillo. I'm excited to be having you guys here today. So let's go ahead and dive on in. So my name is Anthony Granillo. I'm part of the product enablement team here. If you've seen any kind of educational materials to help use the platform, what good chance has been created by me or one of my teammates. With me, I have an audio. So Anne, if you could go ahead and let us know how you're doing, where you're from, and what your role is.
Hi, I'm Anne. I head up the engagement services team. I usually am in New York, but I'm in Austin, Texas currently, and excited to share some insights around reviews today.
Awesome. Thank you, Anne. And then we also have Riley with us. So Riley, where are you from? What team are you on?
Hey everyone, technical product manager of reviews. I am based out of Calgary, Alberta, up in Canada. Happy to be here and explain what we're going to do for you in the coming months for reviews in the review module.
Awesome. Thank you guys for joining today. Glad to have you here to go through a lot of this information. So with that, our agenda, we will cover the power of reviews in boosting local SEO. We'll talk about key challenges in managing reviews today. We're going to talk about time-saving solutions, and we'll provide some demos and walkthroughs of some of the cool platform features that you can utilize. We'll talk about some of the real success stories from our Uberall customers, and then we'll also leave time for some live Q&A at the end. I always like to encourage that if you have a question, add your question at any time in the Q&A section so that you don't forget it, but we will save answering those for the end of the webinar. Questions go into the questions section of the panel, and then you will be receiving a copy of the webinar, and that will have subtitles available in English, French, and German. All right, so let's go ahead and jump on in. We want to know what struggles or what's your biggest struggle in managing online reviews across multiple locations. So we do have a poll for you. We can go ahead and get a chance to get that kicked off. But as we're starting this, go ahead and kind of think about what struggles you might be running into when it comes to that review management. So you should see that popping up on your screen now. All right, we're seeing lack of resources, maintaining brand voice and integrity, analyzing review data, getting reviews from customers, so getting new reviews, and then others. If you do have another kind of struggle that you're encountering, feel free to drop that into the chat as well. Give this a few more seconds. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close that poll. It looks like a lot of you guys are having trouble with time and resources, which is not uncommon. So let's go ahead and jump back into our presentation here. So we have a lot that we're going to be talking about today, and I'll hand it over to Anne in just a moment. But we're excited to show you a lot of solutions that will be able to help you with some of the problems that you're having. So let's go ahead and hand it over to Anne to talk about reviews and how they drive local SEO success.
Okay, great. So reviews are pretty powerful. We all know that they're important, but what makes them really powerful is that they are helping you show up in more local searches. So 16% of the Google algorithm is due to review signals. And the top two really are the volume of your reviews and the ratings. The volume of your reviews, you obviously want a big bulk across all your locations when you're stacking up against your competitors. When you're showing up in these local searches, you're often competing against competitors that have hundreds or thousands of reviews. So making sure you have a strategy to drive higher volume is going to help you show up, as well as the rating. So like in this example here, having a 4.0 is helping you actually show up in the search. So you want to have strong ratings, and then you want to make sure the reviews are authentic. So definitely don't be trying to solicit and incentivize reviewers to leave reviews. You want to make sure they are authentic and all following Google's guidelines. But again, we can go into ways of getting more reviews, but those are the top two. And then Google is also scraping through the content of the reviews for the keywords that are mentioned. So for different products or services, whether that's like vegan, or yeah, specific service, maybe like tire changing. That is going to be looked at by Google in terms of what reviewers are saying. And that's going to help you show up in more searches. And then with text reviews are also weighted higher than just a rating because they're providing more data to Google. So as you're trying to get more reviews, having text is really important and is another way for you to stand out. And then response rate and response time are going to help you compete more against a competitor. If all things are equal, you have about the same rating, same volume of review. You want to make sure you're responding within 24 hours to 48 hours, and then responding to all of your reviews at those locations, and that's going to help you again show up in more of those searches. And then not only are you going to show up in more of your searches, but you're going to be able to influence consumers. So we know that consumers are looking at reviews. That's no surprise. They're looking at a few reviews before making a purchase, but now they're looking at the replies to the reviews. So this is data, a lot of data from 2024, that indicates that customers are now making sure business is responding, and there's a subset of customers that won't use a business at all if they're not responding to their reviews. We also did some research, we'll get into in the presentation as well, that we saw a 21% increase in clicks when a business is responding to 90% or more of their reviews. And so this is indicating that the customers are making a next step, whether that's clicking on the website, clicking for directions, making a phone call, because they see that the business is responsive. And then there is an increase in revenue for businesses that are at that 4 to 4.5 star rating. So you don't have to be perfect, but you want to be competitive. And so over a 4.0 is going to help you have a consumer make a next step. There's some consumers that won't use a business less than a 4.0. So again, you're trying to influence consumers to take an action by having a high response rate and a high average rating, because to them, they're seeing that you're being responsive. Like this is a customer experience that's happening digitally. And so they see, hey, are you responding to your customers or not? And they can tell. So definitely it's become more important, and we expect that it will over time be an even bigger differentiator.
Awesome. Thank you, Anne. Yeah, so we know that reviews are incredibly important to your success in local SEO, not just for getting customers to look at your profiles or increasing visibility, but also for driving revenue to your business and more foot traffic. But as you guys have mentioned, there are some difficulties when it comes to managing those reviews. And so what we've seen in terms of challenges that you guys are having and making sure that you're responding is you might run into some of these kind of key topic areas, like for example, bad reviews. It may be difficult to decide how do you want to respond to those reviews, especially with how big social media is and how things get shared. Or if you're a franchisee, for example, you may want to ensure that you're staying on brand or you maintain that kind of brand integrity. So we'll talk a little bit about what kind of solutions we offer in terms of that. Another challenge could often be too many reviews. If you are responding on behalf of like franchisees, for example, or local operators, it could be challenging to keep up with all the reviews that are coming in. And then also, if you are one of the local operators and you're getting reviews and managing kind of your day-to-day business, it can be difficult also to find time to be able to respond to those reviews as well. We do know that it's very important. And so again, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the tools that we do have available to help you kind of make it a little bit more efficient. But there's also challenges in not having enough reviews. Let's say you're a new location and you're struggling to get some new reviews. We'll talk about some solutions there. And then also there's the challenge of fake reviews, which can be very frustrating because they are on your profile and you don't want that to be part of your brand as well. So we'll talk through that. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Riley to talk first about some of our solutions when it comes to bad reviews.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. Super common scenario. Everybody gets a bad review. It's kind of inevitable. It happens, but it also can be valuable to the business. And here's kind of why. So a negative review makes the listing overall look genuine. We've all seen scenarios. You might go to Amazon, you might go to another website where everything has 5 stars, and that just kind of looks suspicious. Customers catch on to that, and they realize that those might be fake reviews. So when you get in a negative review, it actually makes the listing look authentic. It builds trust and credibility with consumers. Um, so instead, a negative review builds that trust, and you have to tackle it and use it as a positive. As the title says, keep calm and reply on. You can really turn the negative review into a trust building time. Take the genuine complaint and just address it and maintain a positive reputation. One good tip is if there is a sticky review and maybe you don't know how to respond, we do have an AI assistant who can craft a unique response for you. It takes in the review rating, it takes in your business category, and it takes in the language also and crafts a genuine response for the actual review, turning the kind of negative scenario into a positive. I'll pass it over to Anne. She can talk about another scenario where you might have too many reviews.
Yeah, so we hear this a lot from our customers is there's too many reviews for one person to manage or multiple people to manage, and oftentimes reviews fall to the wayside. So we see centralized teams trying to respond to social media, comments, direct messages, emails. You're just overwhelmed with the amount of activities that come in from customers. So this often leads to part-time review response and sometimes ungoverned local operator response. And that can really, you can be missing out on some revenue there and just not an ideal customer experience because we'll see a lot of these businesses have a 10 to 50% response rate. They're leaving a lot of reviews unresponded, and this is across all locations. Like, you want to make sure across the locations they're hitting 90% and above. So just having coverage across everyone is important. And then less conversions from customers taking a next step from that. And then just not being able to identify the insights at a local level. So understanding like who's the high performers, who are the low performers, like why is that happening? So without like a airtight reputation management strategy, you're just not able to get as much of that visibility. And then there's increased risks from undefined internal escalation paths, teams forwarding high risk reviews in different directions and not closing the loop with the customer. And then not being able to monitor in real time for any crises. So it's really important you respond to those within 24 hours so you're rectifying the situation and it doesn't become a trend. And then oftentimes the local operators, we know they respond selectively or they respond as they'd like. So it's nice to have one crisp brand voice when you're responding as a business. And so we wanted to quantify the cost of unresponded reviews of what's at stake for a business to gain by responding to reviews. So it's not just about the customers who have left a review. They're important because they've made a purchase, and closing the loop with them is going to help influence them to make another purchase. But it's also publicly showing customers what kind of experience they are going to have, so that can influence them to then make a purchase or visit your location. So we did some research across our clients and looked at customers that were responding to reviews versus not responding. So locations with a less than 50% response rate versus locations with a 90% and above response rate. And we saw that there was a pretty significant increase in clicks from responding to those reviews. And so then when you do the math of putting that with the overall conversion rate on Google, your average order value, and the total number of unanswered reviews per year, that for this client, using them as an example, was a pretty significant number. And this is, again, just influencing those customers on your reviews to take a next step. And every review really is an opportunity to convert a customer or convert a potential customer. So you want to make sure, you're trying to influence them as best as you can and get, some extra revenue across your locations.
Cool. Thank you, Ann. We're going to go ahead and turn it over back to Riley to talk a little bit more about some of the solutions that we have available when it comes to managing those the volume of reviews.
Yeah, certainly. So first and foremost, we know that sometimes reviews can take a long part of your day to respond to. It might not be the most enjoyable thing of your day. So we've kind of built the unified inbox to help you out with your day-to-day work on this. First and foremost, the unified inbox, the inbox is a place where we aggregate all these directories for you for reviews. It would obviously be very time consuming if you had to go from directory to directory on the internet to go respond to reviews in each individual place. So we kind of aggregated a lot of directories in one place for you in the inbox. That's also including social comments too. We have a default filter of 30 days and unresponded items because we want it to be action oriented. We want you to be able to come to the inbox and be able to see just the items you have to respond to for that day, making it very action oriented so you don't have to filter and sift through all your reviews that you might have that are responded or might be old. So we also have within the inbox, we have a couple tools to help you respond to these reviews. One is the response library. So you can use the response library to make templates. You might have common themed reviews that come in, and you might have common themed responses that you might use. So you can use a template to save those responses and quickly reference them and then send them off at will for those common scenarios that you might have for reviews that come in, saving you time from writing out the same response every single time. And obviously you can still edit the response if you need to tailor it in a certain way. Maybe you want to add someone's name at the end. You want to use the dynamic field for that also. But yes, you can use the template for that. We also have auto responses. So this is an interesting one where you basically use the templates and you can set up an automation. So once a review comes in with no text, it actually automatically sends it off for you. You don't have to look at it; it just does the work for you in the background. So we're seeing that actually up to 55% of reviews can be star only, no text reviews, which is a huge amount. That's could be up to half your work for the day. So this tool can help you respond to all those reviews that you might have otherwise had to manually type out, and it just does it in the background for you. So lastly, we have the AI-powered review assistant. This is one of our newer features. It's a feature that essentially writes out the review for you, knowing the context of the review. It creates a review based on the business category, the actual business name, the reviewer's name, the star rating, and it has the context a little bit around the review that you might have to actually craft a genuine, unique response. And you don't have to type it out again. You just hit the button, it generates a response for you, and you can send it away. And then Anthony can actually give you a demo of that and see the magic in action.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. It's really quick, it's really easy. I enjoy utilizing it and seeing kind of the typing animation. So here we have kind of an example of our unified inbox that Riley was mentioning. Typically you would have more responses here, but I'm going to go ahead and look at Google reviews in particular. So we do have a review here that we want to utilize, and as Riley mentioned, you can utilize the AI review assistant, and it can be utilized across any types of reviews, no matter the star rating. So with that, we select our review and we jump in, and in our reply section, we have that response library where you can utilize those different templates, and it's a great way to empower local operators to maintain the brand voice, for example. We have those placeholders that dynamically update with like location data or customer information. And then we have our suggested reply feature, which is the AI-powered review assistant. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. We'll see that it's going to start generating our response, and we get this cool, magical little animation to show it responding to the conversation or the review that's happening here. Now, the cool thing, as mentioned, is that you don't necessarily need to sit with this one and send it off immediately. You can always look back, review it, and modify it as you need to. So if I just want to take out this like kind of last bit or anything like that, I can be sure to do so and kind of just validate the information before I go ahead and send that off. So that is available for us to utilize. It's really easy to just jump into and start responding to reviews that way. Another great example of the review assistant is also in our automated responses. So these are those ones that Riley mentioned where you're responding to Google reviews that do not have any text. You make a couple of selections like the type of reviews that you want to trigger when it comes to the automated responses, and then which locations you're applying it to. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and just go with like a positive review action, and then we're going to trigger at 5 stars. And so all I need to do from here is then just do the suggest button once more, and that's going to generate responses for me that can be automatically applied and tackle those reviews that do not have any text. And then same thing here, you can add in different elements. So not only can you use the response library, but let's say, for example, I wanted to add in the reviewer's first name. I could just add things like a placeholder here, and then that'll automatically apply once it's responding to that reviewer. And the last thing I'll show you here is that if there is a response that you don't necessarily like, but you want to try it again, you can easily just click on refresh, and then we're going to go and get a completely new response for us to utilize. And once we're ready, we would click submit. So a really easy tool to get used to and comfortable with. And this is doing already 55% or roughly 55% of your reviews are being tackled just by this feature alone. So tackling the not enough reviews conversations, you can ask your customers to share their experience. We have a couple of different solutions that are available for you. One of them is to send review invitations via email or text. So if you have that information, maybe from your point of sale, for example, your newsletters or anything that your customers may have signed up to, we do have a review option or a way to get reviews from customers via email or text. The invitation and templates are, they have dynamic URLs, so it's a streamlined request for the customers. And then another option that we have available is also QR codes. So these are pretty popular. You may have seen them in your own life experience. If you go to a store and there's a little kind of plaque there for you to scan and leave a review, you have that option available. I will say it's not limited to just reviews, but there are a couple of different ways to utilize the QR code. So we're going to go ahead and just show that off really quickly here. So in our location hub, we have the QR code generator. We click generate QR code, and there are a couple of different options available. We can create a single URL or QR code, or we can create QR codes in bulk across your different locations, and they are unique to your locations. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with this kind of single URL option. And we just get a field. So I'm just going to make this easy and use our website. And we click on generate. That will then give us a file that we can locate in our files. And just to show you, this will be the QR code that has been created. And if you have any type of editing software, you can also like change the color and stuff. So really quick, really simple. It doesn't take long at all. It takes seconds really. And that's just for the individual one. Again, if you have multiple locations and you've set up URLs for each location, typically for like their listing, for example, it's a really great way to just quickly print that off and have that available for customers to scan. So if I'm doing it in bulk, I can easily go ahead and choose the second option, choose the locations that I want this to be applied to. I'll just choose 2 for now. We choose our custom field that has those links available, and then we click generate, and then same idea, we get a download for us. And this time it comes in a zip file because it does contain multiple unique QR codes. So We'll kind of skip over that for now, but just wanted to show you quickly how easy it is to be able to create a QR code within the platform. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Anne to talk a little bit about fake reviews.
Thanks, Anthony. So fake reviews, we hear a lot of frustration from our customers around the reviews that they're seeing on their listings. And this has been a problem over the last 2 years that's continued to grow. So what I wanted to cover is that there's a couple buckets of fake reviews. So one being the one we touched on before about making sure your reviews are authentic. So you definitely want to make sure that you're monitoring that no store location is, soliciting reviews or is using maybe a third party to generate reviews that violate Google's guidelines. Obviously, a QR code and asking your customers, that's the way to go, because again, you want real feedback from them. But yeah, it's definitely something you want to avoid. You can potentially have your business listing removed, not show up in as many searches. And then sometimes we've seen a location can't receive new reviews, their reviews get hidden. So it's a route you don't want to go down. So again, just making sure you have visibility to your locations and making sure that isn't happening. And then the second bucket of fake reviews is the ones that we see day in and day out. Just customers leaving reviews about a business they haven't been to, confusing it with another business, a former employee. So just make sure you have a strategy in place to address them. So monitoring for any reviews that seem suspicious or that are spam, and then report them to the network for removal. So Google, Facebook, and Yelp have an option next to every review to report it. And so we recommend the more requests to report, the better. You can't remove the reviews, but you can report them. So the more feedback you're giving to that network to get it taken down, the better. And we've seen actually really good success doing this across our team. So if you go to the next slide, our review removal rate for 2024 alone is pretty incredible to see across these different categories. So Google recently has started taking feedback and removing reviews. In the past, Yelp was the most responsive, but across Google, Facebook, and Yelp, they are removing reviews, and the top category being spam and irrelevant reviews. So in almost 3 out of 4 cases, the review is removed. So again, if someone says, I've never been here, if they're saying that there was sushi and it's a burger restaurant, these reviews are being taken down. Profanity, hate speech, those are being taken down as well. And then that former employee category that has been so finicky and frustrating for customers is seeing a turnaround. So it's great to see that the networks are being responsive, and we hope to see this improve over time. So if you don't have the bandwidth to be responding to reviews or reporting reviews day in and day out, that's where engagement services comes in to help. So we're working with over 75 enterprise to mid-market brands and responding on their behalf. And what we really do for our clients is we're routing reviews to them, making sure we're managing any crises. Again, it's not common, but it does happen. So making sure that we're getting ahead of it, getting responses out as quickly as possible, and making sure we de-escalate if there is a viral review influx. We're flagging reviews for removal. And then we also work with you to build a robust response library that's tailored to your brand's voice and is very human and is very personal. So it is something that will make you stand out versus a competitor. And then finally, we do reporting that is very focused on the operational insights at the location level. So identifying who are the top performers, who are the low performers, and why, what is really driving that. It's definitely something we want to serve up to you so your team doesn't have to do the work. So if any of that is of interest to you, just reach out to our team. We can point you in the right direction. But yeah, we're very, very much here to help and take that work off of your plate.
Awesome. Thank you, Anne. And of course, responding to reviews is kind of half the battle. We have analytics that are available for you within our platform as well. And one of my favorite ones is the sentiment analysis, which takes a kind of natural language processing and looks over the reviews to give you kind of greater insights into understanding what customers are saying, their overall sentiment, whether it's positive, neutral, or negative. And it's a way for you to kind of understand what you can do as a business to improve the experience at your location. So beyond just responding to reviews and driving business in that way, there are some maybe operational things that you can do within the business to improve the experience as well. And it's really easy to utilize. There are sentiment scores out of 100 that makes it really easy to identify, kind of like grade school, for example, to be able to see, what it is that I need to work on. And that's done at a theme level to let you know from different categories or by individual locations. So there's a lot of data that you can gather just from the review or the sentiment analysis. And then of course we have other additional, dashboards that are available that give you the general review data, like how many reviews you receive, what your average rating is across locations and whatnot. So definitely taking advantage of those different analytics that are available to you so that you can find other ways to improve the experience at your location and improve that star rating for your business. So just to talk a little about some of the customers that we've worked with already or that are currently working with us and the impact that we've made on their business. So Barcelona has been responding to reviews and they've had an increase of 12% when it comes to the reply rate. They've seen an increase in reviews, but more notably, they've had a 40% increase in revenue from all of that engagement and utilizing the Uberall solutions. For Decathlon, they've seen a incredible increase in 5-star reviews. We also see that they've increased their reply rate by 58% utilizing our solutions, and they've seen a zero point 0.5 increase in Google star rating, which, as Anne mentioned previously, that can really make the difference if you're hitting that 4-star to 4.5-star rating on your listing. That's a great way to increase revenue for your business as well. And then Pret a Manger, they also had an increase in reply rate of 89%, which is incredible. They've had more increase in Google Maps views, but not only that, they've had a 19% increase in clicks for directions. And that is something that's actionable. That is a customer looking to actually visit the location. And that is also kind of generated revenue for you guys. So these are just some examples across different verticals of customers that we're working with and they're utilizing our solutions. I think the one big thing to point out here is that all 3 customers have increased their reply rate, which again is going to help their overall business when it comes to getting more foot traffic or visibility, as well as additional revenue. So with that, I'm going to send it back over to Riley to talk about some of the awesome new features that are coming for the end of this year.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. So I'll talk about some features we're building right now, and then I can hint at some features we have coming into the next year. So we have a couple main focuses for the review management module. We want the experience first and foremost to be simple. It is a simple UI. We want it to be also efficient, and then we want to show impact. So you can come to the inbox, you know exactly what to do, it's easy to do, and you understand why it's being done or why you need to do it. So within the simplicity bucket, we've built over the last year the new inbox, which we've showed off. I mentioned how it's action oriented. So we've really set up the filters around what you need to do at that time and making it very focused as opposed to having you sift through those filters to try to find the most relevant review. We've taken the liberty of just setting the filters to make it only show you the most relevant reviews. So we've also streamlined the interface. It's got a little bit of a facelift, and you might notice some differences, such as you can now see updated reviews, which is an important one the old inbox did not have. So you'll get alerted when a new review comes in. That's an update of an old one, letting you now respond to it also. We have the improved filtering also, and we have a couple more directories too. We also, within the social category, have threaded social comments. showing you more what you would see on Facebook, where you have a post and a comment, and the comments are threaded underneath, showing you more of a natural view of what a social conversation might look like. Within the efficiency piece, we've got some interesting features that we're building right now. The first one being the AI bulk replies. Now, we showed off the AI assistant to you. Now that's one review and one response at the click of a button. With this feature, you'll actually be able to generate more than one response at a time. So think you have 20 reviews and you want to respond to all of them, let's say that day. You can select all 20 of them and it'll generate a unique response for each review, knowing that all of the content of the review, including what I mentioned before, the star rating, the business name, the business category. So it'll generate unique responses for each review, saving you quite a bit of time, actually, instead of writing out each response at a time. Another efficiency piece that we see is important to customers and that we're building right now is tagging. So within reviews, you might have the actual text of the review, but there's always a topic typically of a review. Maybe it's service, maybe it's food, it could be XYZ. So really tagging gives you the ability to set categories and tag those reviews with those categories so that you can classify your reviews for further analysis later. Um, and it gives you ability to also share those tags also. So the next piece is the sharing workflow, where you'll be able to collect all those reviews that might be in a similar category, and maybe you need to escalate a certain set of reviews. You'll be able to share those reviews with our new workflow. We also have some more exciting advanced AI coming in 2025. There's going to be a big push for this. We're going to really take it to the next level with AI integrations, everything under the sun that you can think of. I don't want to allude to too much because we have a roadmap coming out shortly, so stay tuned for that. But just know there is some very, very exciting advanced AI features that we have coming down the pipeline in the next year. So the next category is the impact. How do we show you impact of what you're actually doing? How do you know it's important? How do you make it? How do you know it's making a difference to your location, to your business? We have an updated review report. So previously we had reports, and we've given them a facelift. As part of that facelift, it's not just new fancy colors, it's also the ability to give you call to action so you know what to do for each section. We've organized it in a way that's very logical with grouping each section, and each section has a call to action. Maybe you know you need to get more reviews. Maybe you know you need to respond to more reviews, and each section will have a call to action that makes it very clear of actions you're able to take in those reviews. And of course, those reports are also shareable too, so you can share them with anybody you'd like. And that's kind of some exciting things we have coming in the pipeline. As I mentioned, stay tuned also for any roadmap announcements because there will be jam-packed full of new exciting updates.
Awesome. Thank you, Riley. Looking forward to a lot of these updates. So yeah, if you're not currently utilizing Uberall solutions, there are definitely some things that you're missing out on. If you have any questions about the features that we have available for you to utilize or getting them activated or anything like that, definitely contact your account manager or your customer success expert. And then, as I mentioned as well, you will be getting a copy of this recording, and it will have subtitles for English, French, and German. And with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into some of those questions that we have received. So let's go ahead and take a look. A question here is the AI feature only for premium users? Not sure, Riley, if you want to take this one, but as far as it goes, it's part of our packages when it comes to reviews. There is a requirement of an addendum that needs to be signed, and it can be easily signed within the platform, but it can be enabled if you have reviews as part of your product. Riley, if you want to tack on for that as well, more than welcome to.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so currently all the review or the AI features within the review module is included. So it's free. If you want to add it, you don't. There's no extra charge. You can access it. You can use it. You can play around with it. That won't be a trial. You can have it. The current features for eternity. But as Anthony mentioned, you do need to sign just some updated documents to make sure we have the legal requirements to give you access to these. But yeah, definitely try it out. It's free, so why not?
Definitely. Another question for you, Riley, is we have someone who loves automated responses, which is awesome. They seem to be taking a little bit longer to populate. Um, is there a chance that they can get in contact with Uberall to see if it's something that's an issue with their computer or anything like that? Maybe not so much for Riley, but definitely if you want to, you can contact our support team. They could probably help you out with making sure as a first level to get those set up and making sure that they're sending out appropriately. So definitely contact our support team. Just go back to our slide really quickly. Reach out to support@uberall.com. Are the QR codes for reviews static or dynamic? I'm not too sure the questions, but they are static in the sense that, of course, like once you process them, they're completed, they're done. So once you print it, it's going to stay the same. They don't update unless you're just updating the URL and creating new QR codes altogether. So I guess the answer to that one would probably be static. What do you suggest doing when you have reported several reviews that go against Google guidelines? However, these are not removed after a reasonable amount of time. This one is probably for you, Anne.
Oh, whoops,
Working
sorry.
on getting
I
off
was,
mute. Yeah.
yeah. I was unmuted looking at the question. Can you repeat that one again? Sorry.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So what do you suggest when you are having or when you have reported several reviews that go against Google's guidelines? However, these are not removed after a reasonable amount of time.
Okay. Yeah, so I was looking at that one. I would say is being really dogged about removing them. So our team has a spreadsheet where we track every review that we've reported, and we did this to see what our success rate was. But what we'll do is we will report them across a team of at least five. We try and go for 10. Sometimes that's not always possible. But if you report every day, across any review that you have in that list, it tends to help. I can't guarantee it, but sometimes there's reviews that are so defamatory or a franchisee is really upset. So we just keep reporting. But I think reporting at least across five people helps, but continuing to report has increased the success rate.
Awesome, thank you, Anne. And then maybe a question for you, Riley. In Austria, we have no automatic responses. Will that be coming soon? If you happen to know the answer for that one.
Yeah, so for the automated responses, so I see you're in Austria, you're in Europe. If you don't have the automated responses, I would talk to your rep, whoever your primary contact with Uberall is. We should be able to set it up for you. There is a permission for it that we can access for you. As far as I know, specifically within Austria, there's no specific rules behind this. But yeah, I would say reach out to your rep at Uberall and we can activate it for you.
Yeah, and additionally, again, you can reach out to the support at uberall.com to have that feature enabled as well. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap that up here. Thank you again, Anne and Riley, for joining today. Much appreciated. There's a lot of great information, and thank you everyone for joining our webinar. I hope you have a great, wonderful day. Thank you all.